Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm just going to run through some of the things we're going to talk about Web 3.0, which exactly I'm going to touch what you mean by Web 3.0, and also I'm going to touch some basics of the search while designing. Most of the designers miss some of the basics which would help us get more value out of search. Let's see about search. Search for most of us, search actually means Google, which actually is true specifically in India context. So let's see what search is important. These are average number of daily queries which happens on Google, which was Google haven't updated it, but we believe there are 5 billion searches every day happens on Google. That's how it becomes very important. And this is just the last time they announced. These are the numbers which we had, and you can see a constant growth in the number of searches which we have. Funny thing is the Indian Google 97% market share in India, which makes it, of course, largest in India, though worldwide it has around 75% of the market share. Of course, why search is important? Because still, till date, it brings the most highly qualified traffic. It gives you the cheapest traffic, that would be the best conversions, that would be still comes from organic search, and that's why it becomes very important for us to build our site so that it's search engine friendly. So SEO from a business perspective, of course, helps us create a better website, brings in a qualified traffic, helps you create better content. And of course, the best thing is that it's measurable and actionable. So it's not that you are just guessing what is working, what is not. If you are using right tools, for example, Google Analytics, you could see what is working and what is not. I'm just going to shoot some of these things. So these are some of the things which we know, and at times we forget and we are not known. So search engines cannot read Flash and JavaScript content now. They has become smarter for JavaScript. I'm going to talk a little bit about those as well. It's quite easy to exclude certain pages from search engine by using certain lines, just a couple of lines in the robot.txt file, which can direct crawlers how you want your website to be crawled. There might be some areas you don't want just users to go on and know what search to be found in search. So these are things which you can do. Google checks for duplicate content on your website. The crawler is getting smarter and smarter. In fact, very smart. It's a machine learning system now, which Google says it's self-learned. So algorithm now which Google has learns on itself and rebuilt. That's what they told us. So of course, Google checks for duplicate content on your website. So it becomes very, very important that your website has unique content on it. Web page name also influences the rate of optimization for certain keywords. So there are certainly used to be domains. So a lot of people used to have a domain, let's say, which were very much keyword rich. So if I'm a web designer, I would have a website-designer-bangalore.com, and we used to work. But that was called an exact match domain, what is called as EMD. So Google, a couple of years back, have brought down an algorithm which doesn't favor this anymore. However, saying that, still we see the influence is the web page name. So a domain name, a keyword rich domain name might not be effective, but a keyword rich URL is still far more effective, and we see it every day that's actually, if you have a URL which is related to your keyword and in fact related to the content of your website, there are chances that it will rank better than the other pages which don't. Common website mistakes which we have is giving each page same title. So that's a common mistake. You should always try. Title is the most important part of the website in terms of the SEO. The title is what shows in the Google, and it's important to have it unique for each page. Not just be lazy and have all the pages same title, or just have pages title just like about us, contact us. So have little good meaningful title. Google moves website down search results when it sees excessive number of keywords used. So it's gone are the days where you are working on a website and you stuff it with 20 times the same keyword doesn't work. In fact, it actually hurts. Page load time is influence the ranking of your website in search engine. Google came with this algorithm a couple of years back and said that the speed is now a vital factor. So Google last year came about the mobile also. If your website is not mobile friendly, it might not rank in mobile. In fact, Google has announced that they're going to update that algorithm in a couple of months as well. They just announced yesterday. So that's how it's coming on to. Search engine looks at how much code you use. So for tables, inline style, not only make your post less synoptic, but also affect search engine ranking. So Try to have your code as clean up as possible. That's very, very important. Not put everything JavaScript and every CSS on the page. Try to have them external. Try to have them combined, or maybe use a sprite CSS. So something we can use that way. It's actually quite easy, as I spoke about that before. Let's say, what are the ranking signals which helps from a search point of view, which could help you get better rankings? HTTPS, Google considered HTTPS as a ranking signal. Now, something you will see similarity, or something you will see similarity on the ranking signal, which I'm going to share on the screens, that most of these are actually signals which help user as well. So for example, if it is an HTTPS, it helps user build trust to your website. Of course, your site is more secure, so that something is important, and it is helpful for Google, because the crawler doesn't have to crawl a site which is insecure or site which has malware, so there are less chances of that site getting hacked. So Google considered HTTPS SSL as a ranking signal. They announced it last years in 2014. Yes, that's a signal, so that becomes very, very important. Again, Google penalized websites that are hacked. It highlights them with the labels, so it's important that you do not have all the security gone. So you should not have all the pages at 777 permission. You should have pages permission should not be changed just by right clicking in the FTP and making a permission. So that becomes a issue. So the malware comes in. So you should always have, if you built a site in WordPress, even if you are not updating a design, it's important the WordPress is updated, and especially the plugins. So the plugins are the main reason why WordPress site gets hacked, and that's where you could get your sites just off Google just because you are not using some right updated plugins. Of course, secure web applications, securing your vulnerability. There is DOS protections, there is DNSSEC. These are all something we can see. Site speed, as I talked about in Google a few days back, a couple of years back, talked about that the rankings are influenced if your site speed is slow. Again, from a user perspective, this is what is important, that your site loads faster, because for a user it's important as well. Of course, how you can do the site speed is, you can have, as I spoke about, you can do minify the CSS, JavaScript. There are tools available. Response time could be increased, images could be optimized. They could be, you could define the sizes. So a lot of time the designer would upload the images and not have the sizes defined for that. So that sometimes takes time. You could use browser caching. You could use asynchronous scripts. You could use CDNs, very popular way and very easy way to use a CDN to speed up your website. You could use HTTP2, and you could use gzip. So there are a lot of techniques how you can speed up your website. And now let's compare what exactly, when we talk about Web 1.0 and what Web 2.0 and 3.0 means. What exactly, so this is how the website means. So by so these were one which was mainly Yahoo, Amazon, Netscape, and then came 2004 where Google, Flickr, and all that come. And Web 3.0 is basically structured data, and meaning where the machine language is getting more human language. So Web 3.0 is when the search engine Wolfram Alpha is a very good example. It's a search engine which works on a Web 3.0 principle, so it learns on its own and has a structured data and a semantic also. So these are something which the major focus is. So Google has moved its focus to structured data, which Google says you could define your structured data on your web page. They have a very good tutorial about that. So if you use structured data on your website will suddenly, so you might have noticed in some of the websites in top 10, there are sometimes reviews coming in, there are sometimes some stars or asterisks coming in top 10 results. Underward it says rated 4.5 out of 5. So those are the things which you can do with the semantic data, which you could do with the structured data, which Google makes very easy for you guys. Even a basic understanding what to look for in technical SEO can get you so far. So this is a SEO manager of a Home Depot, which is very right. I like that statement. That's why I'm just sharing it with you. So many people places today heavily on off-page SEO. So a lot of people comes to us and they say we would require just you to do the off-page SEO. We're taking care of the on-page SEO, but it doesn't. No matter if your on-page site, your code and your content on your site is not right, no matter how good an off-page, how many links you build, it won't rank. And we have seen numerous instances where a 20-page website, there are at times Google has crawled thousands of the pages because somebody somewhere forgot to block something, or somebody somewhere had a same page crawled thrice in 3 different ways of URL. That's what we see every day in our office. I'm going to share some of those too. So SEO 101, it's more about indexation, relevancy and popularity. So the best way to have this start with the SEO is not off page. The best way to start is where the crawler can crawl your website. So that's very, very important. And of course you map your site so that it's structurally semantic. So you have your website site map sort, so it goes from, let's say if it's an e-commerce website, it's a home page, categories, products, subcategories, products. So that kind of a categorization is important for the web pages. And three core principles, as I said: indexation, technical solutions, you follow the SEO best practices, make your site crawlable, that's important. And interlinking is very, very important. You should have most of your important pages interlinked, and if you have some important pages on your website, those pages should be linked from your home page. And that's where Google sees that. It's like a vote which your home page is giving to a particular URL. Normally it says none of the URLs should be more than 2 to 3 clicks away from your home page. So that's something is important. Relevancy is, of course, optimizing keywords into a silo. So for example, if you have a product, let's say a mobile phone, so the silo would be home page, then mobile phone, then brand, then model. So that kind of a one silo which defines it. And similarly, it could be about let's say a tablet, so it could be a similar silo. So these are silo which lives on their own and they are interconnected. So they are interlinked. And that's where Google believes that this is how you're building it thematically. So that becomes important. Of course, the popularity is important for it. Then eventually it comes to getting links, but we're not going to talk much about this.